You know, we're often told that greatness is an art, some kind of magic that you either have or you don't. But what if that's completely wrong? What if peak performance, for both individuals and for entire teams, could be precisely engineered? Today, we're going to dive into the radical playbook of performance coach Albert Tan, who treats human achievement not as an art, but as a science. Right off the bat, Tan hits us with this powerful idea. He says a team isn't just a bunch of people. It's a single, interconnected processing system, a distributed neural network. Now, this isn't just some clever metaphor. It's a fundamental principle that completely redefines everything we thought we knew about teamwork. It reframes the whole goal from just getting talented people in a room to getting them wired together correctly. And this, right here, this is the central question of Tan's entire philosophy. What if we could just stop guessing and start measuring? What if we could apply principles from physics, biology, and network theory to create repeatable, predictable, elite results? We're talking about a shift from a coach's gut feeling to an engineer's actual blueprint. Okay, so how do we start building this distributed neural network? Well, it all begins by totally deconstructing one of the most mysterious concepts in all of sports and business: team chemistry. Tan argues it's not mysterious at all, we've just misunderstood it. Think about the old way, right? It relies on stuff like trust falls and company picnics. Basically, you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that some magical chemistry just appears out of thin air. Tan's method, though, uses precise scientific synchronization drills. The goal isn't just to make people like each other, it's to make them operate on the exact same frequency. The science behind all this is this fascinating concept called biological entrainment. And you've seen this in nature all the time. Fireflies in a forest, right? They start out flashing randomly, but pretty soon they're all flashing in perfect unison. Or pendulum clocks, if you mount them on the same wall, will slowly start to synchronize their swings. Tan's big idea was to apply this fundamental law of physics to human teams. And the ultimate goal of all this entrainment is something he calls implicit coordination. It's that almost psychic connection you see in the best teams, where a point guard knows exactly where the forward is going to cut without even having to look. They're not guessing, they're literally moving as a single coordinated organism. So how do you actually do this? Tan uses a protocol he calls the entrainment synchronization method, or ESM. It starts with nonverbal drills that force rhythmic, coordinated movement. Think drumming exercises or synchronized footwork. Then it's about training shared mental models, basically making sure everyone on the team is running the same internal software, the same operating system. You combine those two, and you get synchronization. Player A isn't guessing where player B will be, they know, because their systems are oscillating in perfect time. This quote from him just sums it up perfectly. When a team is underperforming, Tan doesn't see a lack of talent or effort. He sees a system where the parts are out of sync. See, the problem isn't the players, it's their frequency. And the solution isn't some big motivational speech, it's to synchronize their oscillation. All right, so we've synchronized the team into a single system. But this whole engineering mindset doesn't stop there. Oh no, it applies just as powerfully to the individual people, the athletes themselves. And this brings us to the second huge part of the playbook: deconstructing that toxic grind mentality. And here we go again. Tan hits us with another radical reframing of a core concept. We're always taught to think of training as this purely positive thing, but he sees it totally differently. Training is a stressor, it's a toxin, and just like any toxin, the dose is everything. A little bit makes you stronger, too much is just plain poison. I mean, the old way celebrates the grind, right? Pushing until you break, wearing exhaustion like it's some badge of honor. Tan's new way is all about precision. It's about finding the minimal effective dose. That's the smallest amount of stress you need to trigger an adaptation, and absolutely no more. Your ego doesn't get to be the guide here. Your biological data is. The scientific principle that drives all of this is called hormesis, and it's a fundamental rule in biology. A small dose of a poison can actually act as a medicine. A little bit of radiation can trigger protective mechanisms in the body. Exercise is the classic example, right? The stress of lifting a weight causes your muscles to adapt and get stronger. Tan's whole philosophy is built around mastering this hormetic response. And this chart makes it crystal clear. If you apply too little stress, nothing happens. No adaptation. You're just wasting your time. But if you apply way too much, you enter the zone of toxicity and burnout, causing inflammation and breakdown. The magic, the growth, all of it happens in that perfect sweet spot in the middle, the hermetic zone. The goal of every single training session is to just hit that zone and then stop. So this is where the hormetic ceiling protocol comes in. And it's not based on how you feel on any given day. No, it's based on hard data. Using daily biomarkers like heart rate variability or HRV, which measures your body's recovery state, and a simple finger tap test to gauge your central nervous system speed, you get an objective picture of your readiness. If you have a high HRV and a fast tap test, that means your system is recovered and ready to push. But if those numbers are low, your nervous system is fried. Your hormetic ceiling for that day is low, and pushing past it is only going to do damage. And that's really the bottom line. Once your biomarkers show that you've hit your capacity for the day, your hormetic ceiling, you stop. It's not about being soft, it's about being smart. Every single repetition you do after that point isn't building you up, it's actively breaking you down. It's not growth, it's just toxicity. So, now we've got a method for synchronizing the team and a protocol for dosing stress on the individual. Let's put it all together and look at this unified playbook for actually engineering the win. So let's just boil this all down to the core principles of the playbook, because this is a complete paradigm shift. You stop being a cheerleader and you start being a systems engineer. You ignore how you feel and you trust objective data. You stop hoping for magic and you start engineering synchronization. And you apply stress with the calculated precision of a surgeon, not the brute force of a hammer. Ultimately, if you take away one thing, it's this. For decades, the default answer to every single performance problem has just been work harder. Tan's philosophy shows us that this is an outdated, inefficient, and honestly, a pretty destructive approach. The future is all about working smarter by aligning our efforts with the fundamental laws of biology and physics. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. We spend millions and millions of dollars searching for the next superstar, that 1 in a billion talent. But what if we're looking in completely the wrong place? What if the next huge breakthrough in human performance has nothing to do with finding better hardware and everything to do with writing better software to run on the talent we already have?